Hey everybody, this is Claire, and this is Small Joyful Things. As always, I go to thrift stores or estate sales, or sometimes I buy things from Craigslist, and I'm always looking for things that I think you guys might like or that I personally find interesting. Come on, iPad. And I find out as much as I can about them, and then I tell you guys about them. So here's what I've got today. I hope this will show up nicely. So I hope this actually, you can kind of see this quite nicely. This is a Tidbit tray. I don't think I've ever actually had a Tidbit tray specifically on my videos like to date. This one is particularly nice one. I actually bought it today for $4 in a thrift store. I got it specifically because I looked at it and recognized that all of the roses here are all hand painted, and it is very nicely done. It's very pretty, very delicate. It's very subtle kind of a shade as well. I would say that the color being kind of beige is very much kind of, it feels a bit like the 1970s, I guess. That's kind of the style at the time. But it is very, very pretty. And it doesn't really look like it. They look, the roses look so good. You'd be shocked to actually look at them, and then you look up close and suddenly realize like, oh, they're actually hand painted. So there's my camera. Hopefully you guys can see the brush strokes. And it's all incredibly delicate, and it's really, really lovely. And you can see that the edge also has this little band of gold as well, which is mostly in good shape, and which is honestly not a given for a lot of vintage stuff. A lot of the time the gold band can be fairly well destroyed. I did actually clean it a little bit. It was a bit dusty. I also unscrewed this. Now you can see that this is still kind of a little bit discolored. For vintage stuff, I generally don't try and polish it up. I don't really know if people prefer, like, for vintage stuff to kind of be like, should it actually look new or not? I generally kind of err on the side of caution, being like, if someone's probably going to shine up themselves if they prefer that. It's basically, it's just brass, you know. It's quite easy to take off as well. Now underneath is just this little nut holding it in place. All I had to do was just unscrew that. For some reason, whoever owned this actually had another couple of washers on the end of that, and it kind of made the plate rock a little bit because they stuck out too far. I don't entirely know why they did that. I think they just made a mistake, essentially, because there's one nut and one washer here, that's fine, and then there's the washer here on this side, and they essentially took that off and put it here, and I don't entirely know why. It obviously made this go down a little bit too far and stick out a little bit more, and you know, maybe they didn't realize that. But anyway, I got rid of the extra washers, and it's now properly flush, and it obviously sits fine. So before we get to anything else, I'm just going to measure it up. It is about 5 3/4 inches across. I mean, if I'm going to be like this, it's going to be about 6 inches at the widest point, if I'm being honest. And then the plate itself is only about 1 inch high, but the little stand is, if I'm eyeballing it here, about 4 inches high. It's a very tiny, delicate little thing, little trinket dish. So anyway, what do we know about the marks? NE20131 Japan. Obviously Japanese, which is pretty good. Now I actually picked it up initially because I saw the mark and thought, maybe it's Noritake, and I haven't had a chance to do a video on Noritake really yet. I have seen it a few times in thrift stores. I just can't seem to get it in any good condition or for a reasonable price, and I don't entirely know why. You'd think in Vancouver there'd be plenty of opportunities to buy like Noritake, because obviously Noritake is Japanese and Asian, and there's a very high Asian population in Vancouver. You'd think I would have come across some that could actually be worth picking up and then doing a video about, and honestly I haven't, not yet anyway. I've actually been in thrift stores quite a bit. I haven't done a lot of other thrift store videos, mostly because I keep running out of space on my phone. Limitations of the medium, I'm afraid. I'm gonna have to see if I can, you know, do some more videos like that. So I had the first inclination that maybe it is Noritake, but after doing a little bit of research, it's clear that it's not. This is Lefton, and this is a pattern that's been around for a while. We actually have a pattern here as opposed to just being like a regular thing. Now, I have done a video on Lefton before. They're essentially this company that's been around since about I think the late 1950s, I'm going to say. They started importing Japanese china Japanese porcelain, I should say, into North America for sale here. I think it started by a Hungarian guy, and he just kind of picked the name and started, made contacts and essentially started a gift and kind of dinnerware kind of business, importing fine porcelain from Japan straight into North America to sell. So now if you're actually in a thrift, I see like Lefton figurines quite a bit. Like little knickknacks and everything. Like there's lots of like little Japanese planters and everything. They look lovely little things. I just see them all the time, and I'm not sure anybody but me is interested in them. They sometimes have the actual mark of Lefton. In this case, it probably would have had a sticker of some kind. I unfortunately cannot date this particular mark. I suspect it's one of the earlier ones, but either way, it's probably going to be around the, it's going to be vintage at least. We're not sure, unfortunately. So here's what I've got so far. Lefton 20131, because that's the mark basically that we've got. I'm not sure what the NE stands for, but the 20131, that is the kind of thing that's important. That's the thing that identifies the piece itself. And that's essentially what we've gotten here, the trinket dish. Now, I did a little bit of research as to kind of what else we've got here. And you can see that the pattern seems to come up in two different versions, a green one and a brown one. And as it happens, we have this one, which is Lefton Heritage Brown Floral. And it says pink and white roses, brown background. Heritage Brown Floral by Lefton. Status is unfortunately not known. So we have really no idea like what date it's from. I have a feeling just looking from the pattern it's going to be some of the vintage stuff. And a lot of it is really lovely. Now, if I can just go here, let's try Candy Dish. Have we got anything? Candy box. Candy box, candy box, candy box. Open candy dish. Yeah, okay. So, hard to say. I think it may be listed under something else. Let's just try it. Trinket dish. You never know. Replacements.com. Fix your search, please. Let's try trinket. Have we got anything? Nope. Nope, no results were found. Give me nothing. So, unfortunately, I don't know what it's called. I did scan through, but I couldn't see a picture of anything that looked like it. I'd say probably with more research, I'd be able to nail it down a little bit better. I'm pretty sure at this point that this is that. It's Heritage Brown Floral. It's listed here on replacements.com. I have seen it listed as Heritage Roses. The brown just basically refers to the background. Lefton did do this one, which is Heritage Green, which is effectively the same thing. And you see, this one is discontinued. So chances are this one as well. So this one is the same thing except with a green background, but otherwise quite similar. Now, having said all of that, let's jump over to eBay. And these are the recent sold listings for Lefton Heritage Rose Brown. And you can see that like people are definitely collecting it. They're definitely looking for it anyway. And I was quite happy to see this. Vintage Lefton Brown Heritage Lush Roses 6-inch handled candy trinket dish. Obviously someone going for the keywords there. And that's sold plus shipping for $24.16. Bearing in mind, I bought it for $4 in a thrift store. So at least I made a good bet on that. You know, someone like this is definitely a pattern that people are collecting. It's very nice in its own right, obviously, but you're far more likely to actually sell it for any kind of reasonable money if someone's actually collecting this. And we know this one is actually the exact same piece is actually sold in the last month, and the pattern itself does seem to be active. I did check. Is there actual stuff for sale right now? There definitely is. There's about 25 results here, plus more for international sellers as far as I know. And they're all just, different pieces of the pattern. And at a lot of different, there's quite a range of prices, so I can't really eyeball that. I think the $25 Canadian, so about $20 US is about right for this, which is fine. I'll be putting it up on Etsy. Hopefully someone's going to take it added to their collection. It is, I have to say, really nice. I'm sure that it's just based on the age of the brass is probably vintage, probably quite a bit older than me. Can't say for 100% for sure, and I can't confirm whether the pattern is actually discontinued or not, all we really got to go on is replacements.com, and you know, the internet consensus, make of that what you will. But people definitely want it, which is nice. And it's in great shape for what it is. So here you go. This is my small joyful thing for the day. I hope you guys like it too. And thank you very much for watching. Bye bye.